My brother stood on that stage and called me the dumb one. Said I was only good enough to work in a factory. 80 people laughed. My parents handed him the keys to an $85 million resort and a brand new luxury car. Then a stranger in a dark suit walked up to me, pressed an envelope into my hands, and whispered something that changed everything. You won't believe what happened next. But before I tell you exactly what was in that envelope, hit that subscribe button right now and drop a comment with your city name so we can see how far across America this story spreads. My name is Diane Foster. I'm 34 years old. And until 6 months ago, I thought I knew my place in this world. The forgotten daughter, the disappointment, the one who wasn't smart enough, wasn't ambitious enough, wasn't good enough. Every morning, my alarm goes off at 5:15. I roll out of bed in my tiny one-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of Phoenix. The AC unit rattles like it's dying. The carpet has stains I've stopped trying to scrub out. But the rent is $650 a month, and that's all I can afford. I make instant coffee. Black. No sugar. Can't afford the fancy stuff. Grab whatever's in the fridge for lunch. Usually leftover rice and beans. Maybe a bruised apple if I'm lucky. Then I get in my 2006 Toyota Camry. The one with the cracked windshield and the passenger door that doesn't open from the outside. The engine coughs when I start it. Makes this grinding sound that my mechanic says is gonna cost $1,200 to fix. Money I don't have. The drive to the electronics factory in Tempe takes 40 minutes. Highway traffic. Construction. The same route I've taken for the last 9 years. I clock in at 6:30. Pull on my steel-toed boots, my safety vest, my protective goggles, and I spend the next 10 hours standing at my station on the assembly line. Circuit boards, thousands of them, moving past on a conveyor belt that never stops. My job is quality control. I inspect each board, look for defects, cracks in the solder, misaligned components, anything that could cause a malfunction. Miss one defective board, and the whole batch gets recalled. Costs the company $50,000. Maybe more. I make $42,000 a year. Before taxes. The break room smells like burnt coffee and desperation. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead like angry wasps. I eat my lunch standing up because there's never an empty chair. 15 minutes. That's all we get. By 3 in the afternoon, my feet are screaming. My back aches. My eyes burn from staring at tiny components all day. But I can't complain. Can't show weakness. Because there are 20 people who want my job. 20 people who would take my $42,000 a year in a heartbeat. I clock out at 4:30. Drive home through the same traffic. The same construction. The same gray highway that feels like it's swallowing me whole. Across town, my younger brother Ethan lives a completely different life. Ethan is 29. 5 years younger than me. And according to our parents, he's the successful one. The golden child. The one who did everything right. He wakes up whenever he wants in his penthouse apartment in Scottsdale. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Camelback Mountain. Marble countertops. A wine fridge stocked with bottles that cost more than my monthly rent. He doesn't set an alarm. Doesn't have to. Because he's the vice president of operations at our family's hospitality company. The one our grandmother started 40 years ago. The one that owns hotels and resorts across the Southwest. Ethan makes $320,000 a year. Plus bonuses. Plus stock options. Plus a company car. Plus an expense account that he uses to take clients to steakhouses where the cheapest entree is $60. He rolls into the office around 9. Coffee in hand. Designer suit. Hair perfectly styled. Smelling like expensive cologne. He has an assistant who schedules his meetings. An intern who makes his PowerPoint presentations. A driver who picks him up when he's had too much to drink at networking events. Our parents are so proud of him. So incredibly proud. They post photos of him on social media. My son, the VP. My son, closing $1 million deals. My son, the future of our family business. They never post about me. Last year, something happened at the factory that changed everything. Or at least, I thought it did. It was 2 in the morning. Night shift. The skeleton crew. Just 12 of us in the whole building. I was at my station when the alarm started screaming. Not the regular alarm. The emergency one. The one that means something is very, very wrong. Methane leak. A pipe had cracked near the loading dock. Gas was pouring out. Invisible. Odorless. Deadly. One spark and the whole building would explode. Everyone inside would die. Most people froze. Panic does that. Your brain shuts down. Your body goes rigid. You forget how to move. But I didn't freeze. I ran. Straight toward the loading dock. Toward the hissing pipe. Toward the smell of rotten eggs. They add to methane so you can detect it. There was an emergency shutoff valve. Red handle. 30 feet from the leak. I grabbed it with both hands. Pulled as hard as I could. The valve was old. Rusted. It didn't want to move. I pulled harder. Harder. Until my hands were raw and bleeding. And finally, it turned. The hissing stopped. The alarm kept screaming. But the gas stopped flowing. 47 people were in that building that night. 47 lives. I saved them all. The company gave me a certificate. A handshake from the plant manager. A $50 gift card to Target. That was it. No raise. No promotion. No bonus. Just a piece of paper I stuck in a drawer and forgot about. I told my family what happened. Sent a message in the group chat. Thought maybe, just maybe, they'd be proud of me. Thought maybe this was my moment. My chance to prove I wasn't just the dumb one. My dad responded 3 days later. That's nice, sweetie. That was it. 2 words. My mom sent a thumbs up emoji. Ethan didn't respond at all. But 2 weeks later, when Ethan closed a deal to manage a new boutique hotel in Sedona, the family group chat exploded. Dozens of messages. Photos. Congratulations. We're so proud. You're amazing. You're changing the world. He negotiated a contract. I saved 47 lives. Guess which one mattered more to my family? 6 months ago, my parents sent me an invitation. Heavy cardstock. Gold embossed letters. Fancy envelope. You are cordially invited to celebrate Ethan Foster's promotion to Chief Executive Officer, CEO. At 29 years old, my little brother was going to run the entire company. The event was at the Phoenician Resort. Black tie. Open bar. 80 guests. All the important people in Phoenix hospitality. Investors. Board members. Competitors. Media. I almost didn't go. Almost threw the invitation in the trash. Almost stayed home with a bottle of cheap wine and a frozen pizza. But something made me go. Maybe curiosity. Maybe stupidity. Maybe some small part of me that still believed my family might see me. Really see me. I didn't have money for a new dress. So I wore the same black dress I'd worn to 3 weddings and a funeral. The one with the small stain on the hem I'd tried to cover with a Sharpie. I drove my rattling Camry to the Phoenician. Pulled up behind a Tesla and a Mercedes. Handed my keys to a valet who looked at my car like it might give him a disease. The ballroom was massive. Crystal chandeliers. White tablecloths. Ice sculptures. Waiters in tuxedos carrying trays of champagne and tiny appetizers I couldn't pronounce. I found a seat in the back. Far from the stage. Far from the spotlight. Where I always was. People filled the room. Laughing. Networking. Kissing Ethan's ass. Nobody noticed me. Nobody ever did. My parents sat at the front table. My dad in a custom suit. My mom in a dress that probably cost more than my car. Both of them beaming. Glowing with pride. Looking at Ethan like he was the sun and they were plants desperate for light. Ethan stood on stage. Microphone in hand. Smiling that perfect smile. The one he practiced in the mirror. The one that made people trust him even when they shouldn't. He started his speech. Thanked the board. Thanked his team. Thanked our parents for believing in him. For investing in him. For giving him every opportunity. Then he paused. Looked out at the crowd. His eyes found me in the back row. And he smiled. Not a nice smile. A mean one. You know, he said into the microphone, his voice echoing through the ballroom. I've learned something important in my career. Not everyone is cut out for success. Some people are just naturally suited for different kinds of work. The room got quiet. Some people, he continued, are better with their hands than their minds. And that's okay. We need factory workers. We need people who can follow simple instructions. We need the dumb ones. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Nervous at first, then louder. 80 people laughing. At me. My face burned. My hands shook. I wanted to disappear. To melt into my chair. To cease existing. My dad stood up. Walked onto the stage. Carried a silver tray with documents and car keys. He handed them to Ethan. One by one. The deed to the Paradise Springs Resort in Hawaii. $85 million worth of property. Management rights. Full control. The keys to a brand new Audi. Midnight blue. Leather interior. Still had the dealer tags on it. A portfolio of stocks and bonds. Investment accounts. trust funds, everything. They gave him everything. My dad put his hand on Ethan's shoulder, looked out at the crowd, and said the words that broke me. We're so proud of our son. Unlike some people who only know how to embarrass this family. He didn't say my name, didn't have to. Everyone knew who he meant. My mom was crying, happy tears, proud tears. She hugged Ethan, kissed his cheek, whispered something in his ear that made him smile. I sat frozen, couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't think. And then someone sat down next to me. A man, maybe 70 years old. Gray hair, deep wrinkles, wearing a dark charcoal suit that looked expensive but old, like it had been in his closet for decades. He didn't say anything at first, just sat there, watching the stage, watching my family celebrate Ethan's success, watching them pretend I didn't exist. Then he reached into his jacket pocket, pulled out a thick manila envelope, and pressed it into my hands. Time to show them who you really are, he whispered. His voice was rough, weathered, but kind. I looked at the envelope, then at him. Who are you? He stood up, buttoned his jacket, smiled at me, a sad smile, like he knew exactly how I felt. Someone who knew your grandmother, he said. Someone who's been waiting a long time to give you that. And then he walked away, disappeared into the crowd, gone before I could ask any questions. I looked at the envelope. Heavy, sealed with red wax. My name written on the front in handwriting I recognized. My grandmother's handwriting. My grandmother died 10 years ago. Cancer. Fast and brutal. She was gone in 3 months. I loved her. She was the only person in my family who ever really saw me, who talked to me like I mattered, who asked about my day and actually listened to the answer. After she died, my parents handled everything. The funeral, the will, the estate. They said she left everything to them, to the family business, to ensure its future. They never mentioned me, and I was too heartbroken to ask. But now, sitting in that ballroom with 80 people laughing at me, I held an envelope with my name written in my dead grandmother's handwriting. My hands shook as I broke the seal, pulled out the contents. Documents, legal documents, pages and pages of them, and a letter, handwritten, dated 1 week before she died. My dearest Diane, it began. If you're reading this, it means I'm gone. And it means your parents tried to hide this from you. I knew they would. That's why I gave this to someone I trust. Someone outside the family. Someone who would make sure you got it when the time was right. I watched you your whole life, Diane. Watched you work harder than anyone else. Watched you save money. Watched you sacrifice. Watched you put everyone else first. Watched you save lives. Yes, I know about the factory. About the methane leak. About what you did. 47 people went home to their families that night because of you. Because you didn't freeze. Because you didn't run away. Because you were brave when everyone else was afraid. That's who you are, Diane. Not the dumb one. Not the failure. Not the embarrassment. You are a hero. And heroes deserve to be rewarded. My tears were falling on the letter, blurring the ink. But I kept reading. I knew your parents would try to cut you out. I knew they would give everything to Ethan, their golden boy, their perfect son, the one who never worked a real day in his life, the one who was handed everything and earned nothing. So I made arrangements. The bulk of my estate, including the Paradise Springs Resort, the investment portfolio, and my personal assets, are held in a trust. Your parents think they control it. They don't. I do. Even from the grave. The trust has conditions. Conditions they had to meet. Conditions they failed. And when they fail, the trust transfers to someone else. Someone who deserves it. You, Diane. Everything goes to you. My heart stopped. Everything goes to you. I looked up. The old man was back, standing at the edge of the stage now, pulling a leather briefcase from behind a curtain. He opened it, pulled out more documents. A tablet. And then he cleared his throat, loud enough to cut through the music and laughter. Excuse me, he said. His voice carried across the ballroom. Everyone stopped, turned, looked at him. My name is Harold Mitchell. I was Eleanor Foster's attorney for 42 years. And I have something that needs to be said. My dad's face went white. My mom grabbed his arm. Ethan's smile disappeared. Mrs. Foster executed a revised will 10 years ago, 1 week before her death. It was notarized, witnessed, legally binding. Harold held up the documents. The original will was delivered to the family after her passing, as required by law. but it was destroyed, burned in the backyard fireplace. We have signed affidavits from 2 household staff members who witnessed it. Gasps. Murmurs. Whispers spreading through the crowd like wildfire. Harold tapped his tablet. A video began playing on the screen behind the stage, right where Ethan's promotion banner had been hanging. My grandmother's face filled the screen. She was sitting in her favorite chair, the one by the window in her bedroom, wrapped in her quilted blanket, looking tired but determined. "If you're watching this," she said, her voice clear and strong, "it means I'm gone. And it means someone in my family tried to cheat Diane out of what's rightfully hers. I won't allow it." Diane saved lives. Real lives. Not just numbers on a spreadsheet. Not just profit margins and quarterly reports. Real human beings who went home to their families because my granddaughter was brave and smart and strong. She deserves everything. And that's exactly what she's getting. The video continued. My grandmother laid out everything. The trust. The conditions. The transfer of assets. The Paradise Springs Resort goes to Diane. Full ownership. $85 million. The investment portfolio goes to Diane. $22 million in stocks and bonds. The personal accounts go to Diane. Another $12 million in cash and assets. Everything. $119 million. To me. The ballroom erupted. Shouting. Shows. Cameras flashing. My dad lunged at Harold. Tried to grab the tablet. Security stopped him. Ethan stood frozen. The Audi keys still in his hand. His promotion banner flickering off the screen. Replaced by a red banner that read, "Account suspended." Harold kept talking. Calm. Professional. Reading from the tablet. The Paradise Springs Resort management contract is hereby revoked. The Audi title is repossessed. Repo truck is outside right now. All board positions held by Ethan Foster are terminated. Effective immediately. For cause. No severance. An independent forensic audit will begin tomorrow morning, investigating fraudulent expense claims totaling over $200,000. My mom collapsed into a chair, sobbing. My dad's face was purple with rage. Ethan tried to run. Security tackled him, pinned him to the floor, and I just sat there, holding my grandmother's letter, watching my family's perfect world crumble. Harold walked over to me, handed me a pen and a document. "Sign here," he said, "and it's all yours." I signed, my hand steady, my heart pounding, my grandmother's words echoing in my head. "You are a hero, and heroes deserve to be rewarded." I stood up, looked at my parents, at Ethan on the floor, at the 80 guests staring at me in shock, and I said the only words I needed to say. "I'm done with this family." Then I walked out, left them in that ballroom, left the chaos, left the screaming, left 29 years of being invisible, and I never looked back. 6 months later, I'm sitting on the balcony of my new condo in Scottsdale. Not a tiny apartment with stained carpet. A real condo. 3 bedrooms. View of Camelback Mountain. Marble countertops. Everything I never thought I'd have. The Paradise Springs Resort is thriving. I hired a new management team. People who actually know what they're doing. People who earned their positions. The factory where I worked, I bought it. Installed new safety equipment. Raised wages. Gave everyone health insurance. Turned it into the safest manufacturing facility in Arizona. I started a foundation. The Foster Safety Initiative. Training workers. Upgrading equipment in factories across the Southwest. Saving lives. Because that's what matters. Not profit margins. Not quarterly reports. Not corner offices and company cars. Lives matter. People matter. Ethan works at a warehouse now. $15 an hour. Stocking shelves. Scanning barcodes. Early morning shifts. No benefits. My parents sold their house. Their cars. Everything. To pay legal fees. To try to fight the will. They lost. They rent a small apartment now. 1 bedroom. Cracked tiles. Smells like chlorine from the community pool. I don't talk to them. Don't answer their calls. Don't respond to their emails. Don't feel guilty. They made their choice 29 years ago. They chose Ethan. Over and over and over. And now they live with the consequences. I have a friend now. Her name is Maria. She worked at the factory with me. Same shift. Same station. She understood what it was like to be invisible. We have dinner every Sunday. Cook together. Watch old movies. Talk about everything except the past. Because the past doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that I'm here, living the life my grandmother wanted me to have. The life I earned. The life I deserve. Some people will tell you that money doesn't matter, that it can't buy happiness, that family is more important than anything. Those people are wrong. Money bought me freedom. Freedom from my parents' cruelty. Freedom from their favoritism. Freedom from being the dumb one. The failure. The embarrassment. And you know what? I am happy. Really, truly happy. For the first time in my life. Not because of the money. Not because of the resort or the condo or the foundation. Because I finally know my worth. I finally see what my grandmother saw. What Harold saw. What 47 factory workers knew that night when I saved their lives. I'm not the dumb one. I never was. I'm the one who worked harder than anyone else. The one who sacrificed. The one who didn't freeze when everyone else did. The one who saved lives while my brother pushed papers and closed deals. I'm the hero. And heroes don't need validation from people who never saw them in the first place. If you're listening to this, and you're the forgotten one in your family, the scapegoat, the disappointment, the one who's never good enough, I want you to hear this. You are enough. You always were. Your family's failure to see your worth doesn't define you. Their favoritism, their cruelty, their blindness, that's their failure, not yours. Keep working. Keep fighting. Keep being brave when everyone else is afraid. Because one day, someone will see you. Really see you. And when they do, everything will change. Just like it changed for me. Drop a comment below. Tell me your city. Tell me your story. Let's build a community of people who refuse to be invisible, who refuse to accept their family's version of who they are, who fought back and won. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Thanks for seeing me when my family never did. And remember, you're not the dumb one. You never were.